Barcelona has just come and done it. They have reached their second final of the year, their second final against Real Madrid. Yes, I'm back, and so are Barcelona with the finals. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, back again with another video. And Barcelona are in the Copa del Rey final. They have just beaten Atlético Madrid. Some of you are just gonna be saying, this guy just does videos whenever Barcelona wins and whenever good news happen. But dude, I've been here when we've played Jude Gla, Serginho Dest, and Luke de Jong as a front three, so bear with me, okay? I just want to go out and say that I'm very happy and proud of this team, how it has been developing. I have not been here for mainly, let's say, the best part of the season, but let's say that now I want to enjoy the fruits with you guys and maybe just be able to comment with what this team may or may not be able to achieve this season. And I think that this game was very important for what we wanted to achieve. I said on Twitter that for me this was going to be maybe one of the most important games or one of the most decisive games for the quest of the treble per se, because yes, I think Hansi Flick and their team can achieve it. I think it's something realistic, it's something in sight. I think that Barcelona can potentially win the three big competitions this year, and if they want to win it, this match against Atlético Madrid was very important because against Atlético they faced a team that they had only beaten once this year. It was a team that was very difficult to beat beforehand. The matches had all gone, let's say, not according to plan. There were plenty of goals, and whenever a game goes with plenty of goals, when both sides manage to score more than 2 goals, I dare to say it's almost a game that the managers do not intend. That tells you that something has gone wrong to their plan. You almost want the games to always be around 2-1. That's a perfect scoreline. I guess any manager would sort of say that, or maybe 1-0 like today's game. And you could tell that Atlético Madrid, in the way that they play, are very difficult opponents for Barcelona, particularly this season, the same way that they were difficult opponents for Real Madrid last year. And in this sense, Barcelona needed to surpass, particularly, I guess, these difficult opponents in Barcelona. And, well, there I said it, they finally be able to beat them. They managed to beat Atlético Madrid once again at the Wanda Metropolitano. The two victories came against them in their own stadium. That's very good. And at the hands of a beautiful, daring shark, Ferran Torres with the winning goal. I'm very happy for Ferran Torres. We're going to talk more about him later on in this video. But I'm very proud, very excited to see how we're going to be doing against Real Madrid in yet another final. It may be 2 finals or 1 more final that Barcelona will face against Real Madrid. Who knows? Maybe we will meet each other in the UCL final. There's still a few more matches to go for that one, but let's see how it goes. Let's get into it because there's plenty to talk about for this game. First of all, I want to right away talk about the lineups because I think that's a part where a lot of you are going to be interested to, just dissect a little bit. So let's take a look at what Atlético Madrid lined up with quickly. They went with Juan Musso, the goalkeeper. He's the main starting goalkeeper for Atlético in this competition. They went with Marcos Llorente, Cesar Azpilicueta, Jose María Jiménez, Robin Lenormand, Reinildo. They went with 3 midfields of Pablo Barrios, Rodrigo de Paul, and Juliano Simeone, with Antoine Griezmann and Julián Álvarez up top, La Araña. And Barcelona went with Chesney, Koundé, Cubarsí, Martinez, and Alejandro Valdé, Frankie de Jong, and Pedri. Fermín López got the notch over Gavi. Gavi didn't even got a single minute in this game. Lamine Yamal on the right. Rafinha makes a return after the international break, and Ferran Torres got the notch over Robert Lewandowski. For me, the key of starting Ferran, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here in this heat map. For me, the key for Ferran, you can see the heat map on the left. His movement is much more sporadic. It's not someone who's very stale. Lewandowski is always going to be someone that stays in the box, and seeing how Atlético Madrid will constantly always play in such a low block, Ferran Torres gives you the movement, and he's such good at, I don't know the word in English, but he makes those runs to lose his marker. In Spanish, you call him desmarques. He makes those runs to lose his man, and it creates constant confusion. I think he's much better also playing with tight spaces. We saw many combinations in the first half where Ferran Torres drops in deep to combine with Fermín López, with Pedri, with Lamine Yamal and Rafinha that were dropping in deep, or I guess you could say coming in a little bit into the center of the pitch. And that's where Ferran Torres kind of does a little bit better than Robert Lewandowski. So that's where Torres, I think, really strikes for, right? And that's where the shark really shines. So I really like Ferran does his job there really well. And I really love that Flick actually vouched for him, right? Because coming out of the games against Girona and Osasuna, where Lewandowski scored two beautiful goals, and you could say that the connection between Fermin Lopez and Lewandowski is pretty top notch at the moment, with two beautiful assists from Fermin to the Polish striker. You could say that it would just be such an easier decision to keep that combination going, but he decided to go with Ferran Torres yet again. I mean, that's a decision that he decided to go with in the second game in La Liga, when we play away from home yet again against Atlético Madrid. So yeah, Hansi Flick decided to go with that once again, and I think it paid off. It paid off because we saw it in the goal, and we're gonna talk about that also a little bit later on once the goal came. But Ferran Torres overall really, really good. Keep in mind what I just told you about the movements of Ferran Torres, because that is key for any player. And I wanna know, guys, particularly a question, personal question, because I've always been a very big fan of Ferran Torres, but I know a lot of you have not been that. So let me know in the comment box down below if your mind has been turned with the recent form of Ferran Torres, because now he has 16 goals this season, and that is no, small number to really be. That's no small number. 16 goals this season and not being a regular starter is insane. Almost all goals coming as a substitute. That's pretty impressive. So 16 goals for Ferran Torres in all competitions for Barcelona this year. This campaign is pretty impressive. So has your mind changed? Because I know my partner John in the Mescum podcast, his mind has been turned. He's now a fan of the Shark. So are you with me, guys? Are you part of the fan club now? Let me know in the comment box down below. But well, another player that we have to talk about a little bit is, I think, Fermin Lopez, and the reason why maybe he got the notch over someone like maybe Gavi could have been because Fermin Lopez in a game like this as well, I think that even though you could say that Gavi gives you a little bit of the tracking back, the running that we all associate Gavi with, he's a perfect link up or the mix between Dani Olmo and a Pedri, you could say. Fermin Lopez for me is someone who plays much better as a half winger, and I think when you need to sort of overload those spaces, or we're gonna have someone like Lamine Yamal who's always gonna be a little bit closer to the middle part of the area, Fermin Lopez knows how to occupy that far better than someone like Gavi. So I think that's where Hansi Flick made his decision. Also, you could say that Fermin Lopez and his work off the ball was very impressive in this game. I was very impressed with that side of his game. You could see there that he made 6 aerial duels. I mean, overall he won just 2 of them, but he got down into it. He got very close into every single battle that he had, and I think that associative play and that contribution overall, and that's something that I really like from this team overall, is that they get it. They get it. They get it that if they want to win, they have to get dirty. And I do not care which player it is, from our stellar flair players like Lamine Yamal or Rafinha to our more hardworking players, to the veterans like De Jong or Robert Lewandowski. They always get to it. That mentality shift that Hansi Flick has been able to turn around with our team, I think it's very, very impressive. Even someone like Araujo, who perhaps you could say, I was thinking about it actually, he's our most pure defender, and someone who I think if I was Araujo, I would be expecting to start every single game. I come in and I play a big part in a massive game like this, and I know I'm not starting, but I still show up and I still give my all 100%. I think that's contribution, and it goes all down to the manager. So I'm far much surprised from anything that Hansi Flick has been able to do. The mentality shift that he has instilled in this team is incredible. It really is. Such a breath of fresh air. So far, guys, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to be more consistent. I really do. So far, guys, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm really trying to be more consistent. It's not the problem that it is. So far, guys, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to this video. I always read the comments, and apart from it that it helps the algorithm or whatever, I really enjoy the sense of community that it gives to the channel and overall to the videos that we make here. So yeah, I'll always try to reach out and make content as I do. I've suffered of some mental health issue problems that sometimes take over me and don't let me do as much content as I want. But I always will and will forever prioritize this. Can you believe that somebody tried to buy my YouTube channel? I mean, and I rejected it because I love this process so much. And as much as I love this process so much, I love Lamine Yamal. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about this first half. I want to start talking about where I think that Barcelona perhaps, even though this wasn't the best game, do you agree? Do you agree that Barcelona, for us particularly watching this game, was this not the best game? This wasn't the best performance that Barcelona has been able to produce. I think that this was far from it, actually. I think that in the very first half, we got benefited massively for that incident of the yellow card, the foul that was given by Azpilicueta on Rafinha. I think that that VAR decision overall really took Atlético Madrid out of the game completely. I understand that he was given a yellow card. Let me try and look, because I think that I understand both sides of the argument. You know, I could see maybe why the referee gave it as a yellow card. I could really do see it. In my understanding, I would have given it a red. But if we're being completely honest, I think that we cannot be too hung up on it. You know, this is the alleged red card that Munuera, here it says that Munuera sort of forgave Azpilicueta. In my opinion, this wasn't a red card. I mean, it kind of is. If you look at it in movement, when you look at it moving, you know, in movement, it is a red card. I mean, I do understand what people are saying. It is a red card. The problem is that I don't really care about these decisions that much. I care about whatever happens. You know, I care about how the team reacts. So I don't really like to get hung up on it. I don't really care about that much about these referee decisions. I just like to, okay, whatever happens, it's a yellow card. Okay, move on. You know, let's not get hung up on it the way that Atletico Madrid got hung up on it today, because that's ultimately what happened with the team. I think in the very first half, Simeone noticed that his team, Atletico Madrid, got hung up so much on that decision, were so mad with the referee that they didn't allow them, it didn't allow them to play the game. They got completely taken out of focus completely. They weren't playing football, you know, they weren't letting their football speak. They were more focused about what was going to happen, what decision was going to be given. They were constantly being moaning about what was going to be the next decision. And ultimately, their strategy in that first game, the main strategy that they were trying to do was to have sort of 2v1 when they were going to be marking someone like Lamine Yamal and Rafinha through the wings. That was mainly the way that they were trying to stop Barcelona's attack. But then they soon realized that, well, Barcelona can also play through the middle. And when you do that, they didn't have the capability to adapt. They didn't have the capability to shift their mentality because they were so, you know, hung up on that incident. And I think that cost them greatly. And that's where we saw maybe the goal from Ferran Torres coming in the 27th minute. They weren't able to adapt. There were such big gaps between between the three center backs at the back. Azpilicueta looked like a shadow of his former self. I don't know what this guy is still doing playing football. I really do not know. I think he was far out of his depth playing in a game like this, of this magnitude, against players of this fine form. He really looked out of it. And I think there was such a struggle for Atletico Madrid there. It was no surprise that Simeone made 3-man substitutions in halftime. He introduced Lenglet then. He introduced Javi Galán. He introduced... who else he introduced? Javi Galán, Lenglet, and Sorloth, right, in the middle, in the halftime. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the goal from Ferran Torres, because that's a sweet. I wanted to show you quickly the goal from this angle. Let's see if I can find a video of it. Look at that. Ooh, let me show.
Brilliant ball. Torres makes it look so easy. He's certainly earned his place in the team.
Look at that ball from Lamine Yamal. It's so smooth. That is one of those things that just reminds you and just wants you just beg to make the comparison to Messi, right? I just don't want to put the pressure on the kid, but it's so smooth, it's so precise. The weight on the ball is just exquisite.
Brilliant ball.
And Torres, honestly, Ferran's finish is also pretty hard, you know?
Torres makes it look so easy.
It's also really, really hard. Like, it's not easy at all. Let's take a look from this. Let's take a look at it from this angle.
And comes out. Is it offside?
Not offside. the ball goes from 1, 2, 3 players.
Lovely.
And then incredible touch from Torres to put it to the back of the net.
Comes out nearly up.
Mwah. Increíble.
His body here makes the save.
It honestly is like Lamine. I agree with this guy at the bottom here. Lamine Yamal, it is the best player currently in the world. He is the best player. He's far superior than anything, and I'm really happy for it. And quickly, like I want to mention, like I said at the start, this is a goal that if you take a look, Lewandowski is not going to give you. This is a goal that Lewandowski won't ever give you because the movement that Ferran Torres makes there, I mean, Lewandowski can do that in his best of times, but right now he's not that. Right now, Lewandowski is not that sort of player. Lewandowski right now is more of a poacher inside the box. He won't ever do that movement where you can see where Ferran Torres starts to play. He's almost in the middle of the park and ends up by the edge, you see, of the center half circle. And I think that's the reason why Hansi Flick introduced Ferran Torres for a game like that, because he knew that we were going to have limited spaces. And in just one situation of one moment of clarity from Lamine Yamal, bang, Ferran Torres gives you the goal that sends you to the final. So that is why ultimately we are, I think, a more complete team, because we have a manager now that is able to spot those decisions, is able to spot those different strategies to win the games, and it's not only sticking to just one simple way to win. And I love that from Hansi Flick. And another thing is that ultimately we introduce, you can see at the bottom, we introduce Eric Garcia, we introduce Ronald Araujo, and we introduce Gerard Martin, and even Robert Lewandowski. All of these are defensive substitutions. If you don't, all of these, Eric Garcia, Ronald Araujo, Gerard Martin, of course, are defensive substitutions, and even Robert Lewandowski. And I'll explain to you why. Eric Garcia, you're introducing someone who's going to be allowing for Frankie de Jong. It's not Pedri who moved further up the pitch. It was Frankie de Jong who moved further up the pitch as that sort of number, I guess you could say number 8, number 10. Ronald Araujo was there to give rest, I guess, to QRC, but also to give much more physical presence within the box, because Sorloth was now going to be another player we had to mark because they had simply another striker. Gerard Martin, of course, at the end of the second half, he was going to add another big man, you could say, albeit he gave a stupid foul at the end of the second 45. But I think he was very good when he entered, or not very good, but he did a reasonable job. But Robert Lewandowski as well was going to give you that outlet. When you simply have a striker up top, and this is something we saw against Benfica as well, I think it was in the Champions League, you have that outlet. Yeah, it was against Benfica when we were with one man down in the first leg. You have that man that simply allows you to get rid of the two center backs or two players at one time, because he's so difficult to mark and he is such a physical presence that it like completely nullifies two players out of it. And it's very difficult for these players to get into the creativity part of the game, right? And it only gets you far better capabilities to win aerial duels or to win duels, albeit because he's strong. But the presence and the, dare I say it, like aura that he gives around him and surrounds him as a player, I think it's very important. And I'm not talking about just the aura of the spiritual sense. I'm talking about like the actual presence that he demands, because he's a big guy, you know? And I think that toughness that he brings is very important when you're trying to, let's say, get a stalemate or put a lock into the game, you know, try to kill it, try to kill a game out. I think a player like that is very important. So I think all of those substitutions are things that ultimately Flick, I didn't know, or albeit he has shown he has the capability to do substitutions that he's not afraid of doing when it comes to settling down and actually try to win the game when it gets dirty, when it gets this difficult, when it gets this gritty, you know. And I like that from he's a jack of all trades, and kudos to Flick because he's gotten us to yet another final, and this time is against Real. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If I have to quickly give you my best players of this video, I'm going to give a shout out to Ferran Torres. Of course, he scored the goal. I think it was very important. I'm going to give a huge mention to Fermín López, and his work with and off the ball was very good. But for me, overall, I think the man of the match, I'm going to go with maybe Jules Koundé. I think he was immense. I really think he was really, really good overall. There were plenty of chances that came through his side, and Koundé really knew how to stop them quite a lot. So I think he could be my unsung hero. Between him or Ferran Torres, obviously, honestly, I don't really care. If I could give it the man of the match, I would give it to the manager, because I think this is one of those instances where the manager won the game. And I don't say that quite often. So Hansi Flick, you deserve, honestly, the man of the match. He goes to Flick. So that's my man of the match. Who's your man of the match? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to try to do a video, of course, for the weekend, and I'm going to be doing more videos. Of course, I'm going to do one for the Dortmund game. Yeah, so see you there. Follow me on social media. We may talk there, and bye-bye.